What is up everyone, my name's Joe and welcome to my channel. Today we are looking at the V1 Danelectro Cool Cat Fuzz pedal. Okay, if you like the video that is coming your way, please consider liking and subscribing, because obviously you need to do that if you want more videos. So we're sat down at my desk and I think it would be cool to give you a little history lesson on the Danelectro Cool Cat Fuzz pedal. I've just got it here, see? So I'll be honest, when I was lent this by my friend to make a video on it, I knew nothing about it. I actually didn't even know Danelectro made pedals. That's my bad. And I thought that it was probably like a bit and like not much of a big deal. Make a video, could be fun, cool. But excuse my ignorance. I did some research on this and it's actually got a really cool history, which I'm going to tell you about now. So Danelectro started making pedals in 2005. I know my friend picked this up in 2008, so that checks out. So I didn't know this, but Danelectro were pretty notorious for taking pedals that were no longer in circulation or no longer made, stealing the circuitry and then reselling them for cheap. And the Cool Cat Fuzz was based on the, what was it? The Frantone Peach Fuzz. So the idea was to basically recreate that pedal and sell it for much cheaper. Unfortunately for Danelectro, the maker behind the Peach Fuzz was a woman called Fran Blanche. After her pedal company shut down, Electro Harmonix actually paid her apparently loads of money to come over and become head designer and essentially run all of that company. Which is really cool because I have some Electro Harmonix pedals and I had no idea of that history and how some of the equipment I have has kind of now come full circle and blended into this weird video now. But back to Danelectro. Unfortunately for them, Fran Blanche was pretty ruthless and sued them, basically, which is fair enough. They basically just stole her design and started selling it without her permission. Which led to Danelectro basically discontinuing the V1 Cool Cat Fuzz, and then they remade it and had the V2 Cool Cat Fuzz, which had some different things going on under the hood. The one I have is the V1, which apparently are starting to become kind of collector's items. Some other info about this is it has true bypass and actually has some FET switches under the hood, which are stuff you find in like common rat distortions, basically. The controls are very simple. You've obviously got the on-off switch and then volume, tone, and fuzz. It's a pretty cheesy looking pedal. My friend, when he bought it, said he bought it because he thought it looked cool, like a panther, which it does, I guess. But I certainly wouldn't buy this pedal just based off the looks. But looks aren't important. We know that. The sound is. So let's hear it, shall we? Okie dokie. So I went and wrote and recorded and mixed a playthrough, which I will show you in a second. Before doing that, I should say all the guitars were through the Cool Cat Fuzz pedal, so all the distortion, fuzz, those kind of things is purely just the pedal. I ran it into my Quad Cortex. For the rhythm tones, I used the Friedman Clean amp with the cab bypassed, which ran into Getgooddrums Studio Cab's Goldstack. And for the lead tone you hear at the end, it was running into the Solo 100 Crunch Bright amp, again with the cab bypassed running into Goldstack. Here it is. as you can hear, I think that sounds pretty cool. It's certainly got character and a bunch of sort of aggression and girth. At the end of that, you can hear the guitars go super low tuned. What I did was I actually ran a pitch shifter in front of the amp and before the fuzz pedal, but just at like a 50% blend octave down, so that explained that tonal shift. But I think it sounds really cool. In terms of mixing in post, there's just a couple tiny EQ moves. I think the most I did was like 2 dB, taking out some whistling and a bit of boxiness, which I didn't like. And then I did run it into a tape emulation, the Slate tape machine. But apart from that, there was really not much mixing to do at all. I think a large part of that's probably due to Goldstack and the master EQ switch there. It does a lot to help, but it shows that you can achieve really cool sounds using this pedal with little to no effort. But I think it could be cool to show you some different sounds and tones you can get from it on different guitars, different tunings. So that's what we're going to do now. All right, so here is my PRS Custom 24, which is what I used to make the demo you just saw. It's got a bare knuckle juggernaut in the bridge and a VH2 in the neck. It's a real sick guitar. I first want to show you actually what it sounds like if you just take the pedal and put it straight into a cab. So this is running, as I said, just the pedal into GGD Studio Cab's Goldstack. So there's no amp head in the signal chain. So I think that sounds pretty crazy, just as is. But let's engage the amp, which is the Freeman 100 clean on my Quad Cortex. So that's, where are we? Fuzz is at 12, tones maxed. Volume is just suitable for what I want. So let's put the fuzz all the way up. So that's on the Juggernaut as a humbucker, but let's split coil it and see how that sounds. Sounds really cool, man. I really like it. Let's try it in 7-string. All right, so this is the Jackson Misha Mansell Pro Series 7-string with an Evertune. It's got Ragnaroks in top and bottom. Almost a bit like HM2E. Cool, so I've now got my Strandberg Standard 6 in standard tuning. All right, so let's dial fuzz up all the way in standard. Let's dial the fuzz thread. I can't speak today, dude. Let's dial the fuzz back all the way and see what we've got going on here. An interesting tone. It's probably not something I'd use. I don't really love the sort of breakup at the end. It sounds okay when it's being played though. It's just when it fades out that I'm not a huge fan of that tone. I'm gonna engage that pitch shifter I was talking about earlier and show you how cool that sounds isolated. So again, this is E standard, but with a pitch shifter set at 50% mix, an octave down before the fuzz. Sounds absolutely massive. It's so messy, like the string definition is just there, but I think that's a really cool character. It sounds unlike, it sounds wild. So there we have it. There is the Danelectro Cool Cat Fuzz pedal. I had a lot of fun making this video. I think the pedal sounded a lot better than I thought it was going to, and when I found out the sort of story behind the pedal, that kind of adds another layer of appreciation for the pedal and its history, which I wasn't expecting in the slightest. Used one of these seemingly pretty rare pedals. It's cool. I'm really thankful for having the opportunity to. I don't use a lot of, like, I guess you can't really call it retro if it came out in 2005, but I don't get the opportunity to play a lot of, like, rarer gear. I'm very much a sort of modern guy. I like modelers, you know, fucking digital stuff everywhere. So it's cool to kind of mess around with something a bit more old school. I don't know. Some of you are probably going to hate me for saying 2005's old school. I know it's not relatively, but for me it is. So what do you think of it? Are you going to try and pick up the V1? Are you going to try and pick up the V2? Or are you just going to say, "Meh, I'll get a different fuzz somewhere else, something else, some other company"? Or you're going to try and get the peach fuzz? I'm intrigued to try one and see how similar they sound now. Maybe I could do a comparison. That would be a cool video. Anyway, I'm digressing. Thank you very much for watching. Please consider liking and subscribing if you haven't already. Obviously, it really helps. I'll see you next time for another video. Thank you. Bye.